My name is Chris Galke. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, and my lab works on how the gut microbiome influences human health. So the gut microbiome is just a microbial ecosystem. It's a collection of the microbiota, which are the bacteria, viruses, microscopic eukaryotes, and fungi that inhabit the gut. Their products, so what sorts of proteins and other compounds they produce, and the surrounding environmental conditions such as pH and temperature. Typically, we think of bacteria as bad things, right? And viruses and other microbes as well. We want them in our body, or why an organism might want it in their body is because they can have really important impacts on health. They can help train our immune system, they can help digest undigestible components of our diet, and importantly, they can help crowd out pathogens or even target them for killing in the gut environment so that we don't get sick. So the microbiome plays a really important role in nutrition and digestive health. So first, microbes can digest things that we can't. They have a huge metabolic capacity, and in particular, they digest indigestible fibers. And from these fibers, they can produce beneficial compounds for us, such as short-chain fatty acids, or just molecules that have anti-inflammatory properties, and that our own cells can use for nutrition or energy. They can also help us absorb different nutrients. They can produce micronutrients such as vitamins for us that we can't produce ourselves. We have to get it from the diet or we have to get it from our microbes. The microbiome is really heavily impacted by our diets. So this is just like any other ecosystem. The food components in there are what the microbes eat. So if we change those food components, our microbes also either have to change what they're doing, so what genes they're expressing to actually chew up and eat those compounds, or other microbes that are better at doing that can come in and take over. Now this can have different health impacts on us. For example, those short-chain fatty acid producing bacteria, those beneficial anti-inflammatory compounds, tend to be increased when we eat more fiber. So this is where you might hear a nutritionist or your doctor suggesting eat fiber, it'll help feed your microbiome. So when you take antibiotics, it really depends on what antibiotics you take. Some antibiotics are broader spectrum than others, so they'll kill more different types of bacteria. Others are very targeted. So it really depends on what you're taking, but in general, it's going to reduce the number of bacteria that are present in your gut and other microbiomes throughout your body, say, for example, your reproductive tract or your respiratory tract. This can lead to sort of a new microbiome conformation later on down the road, or you can go right back to where you were before your antibiotics after you stop taking them. So it kind of depends on the person, the spectrum of the antibiotic, and the situation in general. So probiotics and prebiotics have generally been shown to be not harmful, but there's not a lot of solid information out there that says in every individual that they work. It's really hard to get a probiotic to colonize permanently a gut microbiome. So if it's not there to start with, it's hard to get it in. Doing things in excess, things like detoxes, that sort of thing, can be potentially beneficial, right? But they can also be potentially harmful with regard to your microbiome. We don't think about it like it's the Sahara and these things are like lions and gazelles, right? Which we should be. When you do a detox, it's kind of like setting the Sahara on fire and seeing what happens, and it can be good or bad, right? So I tend to stay away from them. So microbes play a role in many different types of cancer. We know the most about gastrointestinal cancers. And we know that microbial products, such as some secondary bile acids produced from metabolizing our own bile acids, which we produce, can cause DNA damage, and that can lead to cancer. Microbes can also produce toxins that cause DNA damage. They can influence how quickly a cell proliferates, and that can also contribute to cancer. We found a couple species of bacteria that are generally associated with colorectal cancers and other gastrointestinal cancers. But again, this becomes very highly personalized. So some people have a lot of those bacteria and have colorectal cancer, other people don't. And we don't quite know why that is yet. We don't even know yet whether or not the microbes are passengers in this situation or drivers of the cancer. So it could just be that microbes change in response to the process of cancer pathogenesis, but aren't actually causing that cancer. They may exacerbate it, they may accelerate it, but maybe they're not the root cause.